A broad tropical disturbance in the eastern Caribbean is bringing widespread and even flooding rains, and that will move to areas that don't need any more. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi, my friends. Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We are your home for Caribbean weather. It's nice to see you for this latest video. I hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, we have a large tropical disturbance with a ton of moisture moving into the Caribbean right now. It's bringing widespread rain and some very squally, gusty wind conditions. We'll look at that. There's actually a stall boundary here in the central Caribbean, which is bringing some rain even up into the southeast portions of the Bahamas right now. And we'll look ahead to what's going on in the tropics for the first week of November. As always, Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. You get storm damage of any kind, property damage, they'll walk you through that insurance claim process. Reach out to leanonmelaw.com for more information. As always, love to hear from the fantastic weather community. Let me know what's been happening in your area, what the weather has been like. Obviously, we've seen Hurricane Melissa shoot away from Bermuda. It brought extremely strong winds late last night and early this morning with some really squally conditions and kicked up sea conditions as well. If you live on Bermuda, please let us know how you guys are doing. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, we're gonna have some gale conditions near Nova Scotia and portions of Newfoundland as well. So, 30, 45, 50 mile an hour breezes from time to time as Melissa becomes post-tropical and works its way into the northern Atlantic and then away from any other landmass. But now back over to the Lesser Antilles. Again, this is a broad disturbance. We have rich tropical moisture in play right now. When we look at the surface analysis, this axis of tropical moisture is just east of the Lesser Antilles, but it has thrown a lot of moisture already into the eastern Caribbean, and that will continue at least through the early part of the weekend, aiding in some very healthy rainfall chances and rainfall totals in that area. It's that time of the year where fronts coming off the United States East Coast can work its way deeper and deeper through the Bahamas and into the Caribbean. And this front is stalling out right now, and we have a trough associated with it ahead of it. And unfortunately, we're going to get additional moisture to develop along this boundary and trough, which means places like Hispaniola and Jamaica and Cuba and Southeast Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, those that have been hit the hardest from the aftermath of Melissa, likely to get additional rain in the coming days. And I'll talk about that coming up. But let's start again with the Lesser Antilles and into the Windward Islands. First of all, for Barbados, it has been a very rough afternoon. We have a flash flood warning that is currently still in effect. Many areas have had 2 to 3 inches of rain or 50 to 75 millimeters. So a flash flood warning, some, landslides are happening right now. We have some inundation of water in low-lying areas. It's just been a really active day across Barbados, hopefully breaking apart late today and then beginning early into the weekend. I think the worst is passing through now or previously today, but if you've had some impacts on Barbados, please let us know in the comments section below. Notice again, there's only a couple of lightning strikes. This is just good moisture that's developing across the area with this disturbance. Again, it's not likely to wrap up into a depression or storm, but it is a very elongated, very healthy area of rain. Showers and thunderstorms over portions of Trinidad and Tobago for today. We've had some passing showers over Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and St. Lucia. As a matter of fact, this is what it looked like this morning in St. Vincent for Mary Barnard looking east towards Barbados. Again, she said that they had, I think, over 2 inches of rain there locally even by this morning. So again, just thick tropical moisture passing overhead of the Lesser Antilles. Live look outside to Corinth, St. Lucia. Now, just before I came on, if you look down here, you would have seen some light showers passing by. Looks like that last one has just moved through, but it's been fairly gray, somewhat overcast, kind of filtered sunshine in St. Lucia today. Not an all-day rain, but just a fairly impactful day. And from time to time, we've had some gusty winds as well. We'll continue with the showers deep today and into the weekend for portions of Dominica and Martinique. And again, underneath this, a rumble of thunder is not out of the question, but just generally speaking, this is moisture that continues to stream up to the north and west. I mentioned in yesterday's video that although the heaviest rain was going to start in the Windward Islands today, you notice how it's all moving north, and that will inundate the Leeward Islands eventually with better shower and storm chances over the weekend. Areas like Anguilla and St. Bart's Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, those areas will stick with better rain chances for Saturday and Sunday compared to areas off towards the south. So the rain really beginning to build in right now. This is our high resolution visible satellite imagery, and you can see the extra cloud coverage coming in. Don't see any big time marine advisories yet, but from time to time we could get some swells moving in the 2 to 3 meter variety, and just overall rain chances improving into this area as we move through the rest of the weekend. Showers are beginning to work their way into the British and U.S. Virgin Islands as well, from Anegada and Virgin Gorda, Yost Van Dyke, Roadtown Tortola, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, and then spreading west towards Puerto Rico. Now, again, when we haven't had the rain, we've had heat advisories in Puerto Rico, so not the worst news to get some extra showers in the area. This is a live look to the radar out of Puerto Rico. And again, at this point in time, it's still relatively scattered. Good downpours, but they're in and out of one area fairly quickly. So just really spotty rain for today, but a couple of inches of rain in a few choice locations, not out of the question as we go through the rest of our Friday and into or at least the early part of the weekend. But overall, I've got moderate rain chances sticking around for the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico for the weekend ahead. And unfortunately, that's also the case over portions of Hispaniola. Again, you know, the news continues to trickle in out of places like Haiti and the Dominican Republic and even Jamaica. Unfortunately, now the death toll for Melissa is at least 50 and over 30 now in Haiti. And so it's still a dire situation. And there are many areas that are still cut off. We have isolated communities from some areas of Haiti on the southern and western sides that have had over 40 inches of rain in less than a week from the beginning of Melissa to even right now. It's tough to see additional showers and storms developing in this area off of this trough and frontal boundary, because that moisture that's in the Leeward Islands and Lesser Antilles overall will work its way west, aiding in additional shower and thunderstorm chances across these areas. We've had a relatively quiet day in Jamaica so far. A couple of showers are trying to sneak into the eastern parishes, but again, this is the part of the island that was not as impacted from Melissa. Overall, though, I think rain chances are going to be going back up again for the weekend ahead, and we'll look at that in a second. Same situation over southeast Cuba. Again, it's been pretty spotty for today, but additional shower and storm chances are likely for the weekend. Showers and storms have been a little bit more widespread in the southeast Bahamas, especially over Mayaguana and Inagua, with a couple of scattered showers and just a overall relatively cloudy day through portions of Turks and Caicos. You get farther to the north, things are drier here. Let me bring on the water vapor imagery. Again, this boundary, and this time of the year, you guys see that really bright red. I mean, that is some good dry air that has worked its way all the way into the northwest Caribbean, really cutting off the rain chance for most of Quintana Roo and the northern sides of Central America, and trying to, in the short term, bring some drier air towards Bermuda as well. So we're clearing out from the aftermath of Melissa. Now, we had some really rough sea conditions as far north as central Eleuthera in the Bahamas. Never really had the impactful winds, but it was, you know, breezy from time to time. And I showed you yesterday's live stream where we had some nice little breakers there on the seawall. Things have quieted down in central Eleuthera. Now, you get, again, a little bit farther down south, and you still have, you know, the opportunity for some showers and just overall more moisture here in the Long Island area as we look out from White House to the areas off towards the west. And it's really, again, you get down towards the Long Island area, and it's just kind of a mix of moisture in the region right now, but not a lot of rain, at least in the short term. Speaking of the areas, again, that should be relatively dry, as I just showed you. It's been a lovely forecast for Cancun and Cozumel and Tulum, back towards coastal sections of Belize and Guatemala. Again, we've had some passing showers in portions of the Bay Islands, Utila, Roatan, Guanaja. Some of you guys have let me know in the comments section below. You've seen some of that very localized. Some extra cloud coverage today on the northern side of Honduras, right along the coast, could spell some localized showers there. But we really get back into more active conditions, the southern sides of Nicaragua towards Costa Rica and Panama, where again, our monsoon trough this time of the year is quite active. And that monsoon trough could be quite interesting for the first week of November, and I'll show you that coming up. But before we get to that, we got to take it to the ABC Islands. A live look outside to Oranjestad. Another beautiful day there at Hakwa. man, oh man, is that absolutely fantastic. Good breeze from time to time. We might see a couple of showers slip into the ABC Islands over the weekend, and we'll look at that as well. As always, I appreciate you guys taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. We appreciate all of our new subscribers that we picked up during the coverage of Melissa. Again, we don't just cover the big events. I've got your daily forecasts across the Caribbean and the Bahamas, so appreciate you guys joining the channel. Thank you to all of our new members as well, and for those who found ways to support the channel via the super thanks and other ways as well. So let's get into the forecast here in the short term. I'm going to go back to the broad perspective. Our two features that I had mentioned already are still going to be the driving force for rain. Now, again, this is likely to not wrap up into a depression or a tropical storm, but the amount of moisture and how widespread it's going to be is going to be a concern for areas that were so impacted by Melissa. And you combine it with this trough that's situated over the central side of the area, and it's going to be an issue. The other thing that I expect us to see is fresh winds to continue here. And again, I already mentioned that there haven't been a lot of elevated marine advisories yet, but I do expect the winds over the weekend and into early in the week to continue to pick up out of the east. Again, we have our trade winds here in the Eastern Caribbean, which are going to get a little bit higher. These pinks get you into the 25-mile-an-hour wind range, but they will traverse a little bit deeper into the Caribbean as we go over the weekend. So don't be surprised if you see some elevated sea conditions on the south side of Jamaica. Also expecting some of this wind to pick up here in the exposed waters of the Bahamas just off to the east. So that could push in some long period swells into those areas as well. Let's get into the rainfall forecast, what it looks like here. And again, it's not a great situation. First of all, through at least the early part of Saturday, very wet over the Lesser Antilles in general. Will begin to dry out a little bit quicker. Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, TNT. Now, this doesn't mean that we're not going to have some showers for Saturday and Sunday, but they're just not going to be as widespread. The richer tropical moisture is going to traverse north and west. And so areas north of there like Martinique and Dominica, but especially Guadeloupe, Antigua, Barbuda, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Bart's, St. Martin, and Anguilla will hold onto their rain chances over the weekend. 50-60% chance in a lot of areas. Same situation, but even better quality moisture the farther west that you go. So the Virgin Islands will not only have elevated rain chances, but we'll also see the opportunity for some heavier rain as well. Again, the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico could get an inch or two in some locations on a daily basis. Not going to lead to a lot of flooding, but there will be some elevated amounts as well. Now, of course, the problem is we still have flood warnings going on right now, especially in the southwest side of the Dominican Republic and portions of Haiti. And there's just this next slug of tropical moisture coming in. Look at this moving in late Saturday and on Sunday. I hope it just doesn't sit on top of the island, but we have to get prepared for additional areas of heavy rain and additional areas of multiple inches of rain, another 50 to 75, maybe 100 millimeters of rain. That's up to 4 inches is possible over the next 3 to 4 days. It's not a great situation there. It's not great to see additional rain chances moving back in over Jamaica. Look, it's one thing to have to, clean up in the aftermath and just to, get yourself upright, if you will, on the western side of the island, but have to deal with additional rain and storms when some areas aren't, we don't even have shelter anymore. It's a big problem. So our thoughts are with our friends here in Jamaica, but we have to get prepared for the opportunity for additional rainfall totals here. Now, hopefully not enough where we have any additional flooding issues on the western side of Jamaica. I'm monitoring that situation for you guys very closely. Scattered showers for the southeast sides of Cuba. Some of this moisture with those winds turning more out of the south should reach Turks and Caicos again, portions of the southeast Bahamas. Generally speaking, the farther north in the Bahamas you go, slightly drier, but this moisture developing along this boundary is able to work its way back up north. So at least some spotty showers over the weekend for places like Andros and New Providence and Eleuthera, the Abacos, Grand Bahama, Bimini, and Walker's Key. Not completely dry out there. You get into Florida though, and we're into some beautiful dry conditions here and cooler conditions. And eventually we'll start to pick up some better rain chances in the Yucatan, but for the time being, it'll be relatively dry for Cancun and Cozumel. Rain chances will begin to improve. Same situation for coastal Belize and Guatemala and northern Honduras, but for the most part, at least in the short term, the heavier elevated rain chances stay just east of there, southeastern sides of Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and the Cayman Islands are likely to start to see elevated rain chances as well. Some of the Cayman Islands could get some locally heavy downpours. Now, on the back end of Melissa, believe it or not, Bermuda could catch that trough, that frontal boundary, and that could provide some rain chances there as well. So island by island, rainfall forecast looks like this. Again, more isolated for most of the Bahamas over the weekend, but from time to time, there could be an elevated rain chance. But overall, many dry hours and locations. Turks and Caicos, better rain chance tomorrow, drier on Sunday and Monday. Cuba's rain chances remain on the moderate side. Cayman Islands rain chances should be elevated the next couple of days. 50 tomorrow, 60 Sunday and Monday. Again, it's not an all-day rain, but some locally heavy downpours are expected. Not a lot of rain for the short term. Belize City, Cancun, and Cozumel. 40% chance for showers and a few storms tomorrow in Jamaica. 50 Sunday, 40 on Monday. I'll watch it closely for you. The Dominican Republic has a 60% chance for showers tomorrow. So again, just elevated rain chances Sunday and Monday with some of that on the heavier side. Puerto Rico stays with a moderate rain chance. Really good chance for rain and some locally heavy rain in the Virgin Islands tomorrow. Tails off a bit Sunday and Monday, but still a pretty healthy chance. Bermuda again should catch some scattered showers and storms the next couple of days. Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, still high rain chances, especially early tomorrow. Generally speaking, in the Lesser Antilles, the deeper into Saturday that we go, the rain chance begins to fade and then more isolated to scattered Sunday and Monday across the whole island chain. 60 tomorrow, Antigua, Barbuda, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, again mainly in the morning, but we'll still have some lingering showers and storms Sunday and Monday. And again, the farther south that you go, lower chances overall and just dropping quicker. So tomorrow, St. Lucia and SVG, a 40% chance. On Sunday and Monday, just a 30% chance. And after all the wet weather in Barbados for today, we're actually down to just isolated rain chances for the next 3 days. Grenada comes down. TNT stays with a moderate chance tomorrow, then a 40 on Sunday and Monday. Moderate chances in Suriname and Guyana. Same situation for Nueva Esparta till it gets drier early next week. And a few showers and maybe a rumble of thunder in the ABC Islands, but again, not a lot in the way of appreciable rainfall there. Now, looking at the wave heights, again, as Melissa pulls away, some gale conditions moving up the New England coastline towards eastern Canada. We could obviously see some marine issues from this disturbance as it pushes west. You see these greens, that's 8-9 foot waves, maybe even close to 10-foot waves. Most of that in the open Caribbean, but the south coastline of Jamaica, I'll keep an eye out for that, where again, we might have some, large wave and strong wind advisories as a potential. And you can see some of the elevated sea conditions sneaking up towards Turks and Caicos in the southeast Bahamas. Look, my friends, I know we're pushing into early November, but it still is hurricane season, all right? So an area that I watch very closely this time of the year, climatologically, is the Western Caribbean. This monsoon trough that sits in the southern side of the Central America brings a lot of rain to Panama and Costa Rica, tends to work its way north this time of the year. And it also just allows there to be a little bit more vorticity or spin in the Caribbean. And the Caribbean still has sea surface temperatures, as we know just from last week with Melissa, which are still very high and can support not only tropical development, but strong tropical development. As we get towards early November, the cold fronts that work their way off the United States East Coast bring drier air to the Gulf and the Western Atlantic Basin, really knocking down the chance here. And with these fronts, you get more shear, cooler water temperatures begin to emerge as well. So it's really the Caribbean as we get into the first week of November. And for a lot of the time, it has to be the first week or 10 days if there's going to be development. I want to show you the European ensemble models because about a week out from now, some of them are showing some signs of development off of that monsoon trough, okay? Now, this is also backed up by the GFS ensemble. So just wanted to point this out. Now, this takes us out about 12 days, but beginning about November 6th or 7th, we see a few of the ensembles trying to develop an area of low pressure in the Southwest Caribbean and drive it somewhat north. There is nothing to worry about at this point in time. I'm just pointing this out. I'll keep a very close eye on it. If there is some consistency with the models, we'll talk a little bit more about it. But I will say that, again, this is the area that I look at the first 10 days of November for potential development. Again, midweek, there's nothing, but Thursday, Friday of this week, the GFS models begin to pick up on that as well. The ensemble members do. It's a little bit slower development here with the GFS, but down the road towards next weekend and then early the next week, as we get into like November 10th and 11th, we start to see a few more areas here on the GFS model. Again, just a little bit slower overall, but they also are pointing to potential out there. It's not so far down the road where we can fully discount it, especially when both main global models are showing something. And again, this is the area where the most likely development is in early November. So I'll be watching that very closely for you guys. Looking at rainfall totals now, regardless of anything trying to get squirrely here in the Western Caribbean, we're going to see rain totals begin to elevate again as that monsoon trough is very active. Other areas of additional heavier rain could be the Southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. Again, we could still see a disturbance or two slip into the Eastern Caribbean. So from Puerto Rico to the Virgin Islands to the Lesser Antilles, and even portions of Hispaniola likely to see some additional heavier rain. Friends, you can follow us across all of our social media platforms. We are indeed on Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. You want to send me a picture or video? Easiest way to do that, mymediamundo@gmail.com. As always, you have a question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. And please remember that Media Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. You get wind, hail, hurricane damage, flood damage. They'll walk you through that insurance claim process. It's leanonmelaw.com for more information. Friends, have a great rest of your day. I'm back soon with the latest forecast across your area, right here at Media Mundo.